Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. After 2 weeks, it seems I have had a good break. Not only because I needed it for mental health reasons, but also because my personal discipline kind of sort of improved. And because of that, certain changes to this live stream will also happen. Don't worry, the frequency is not going to go down, but we'll get to that. How has everyone been? How has life been treating you? I know a lot of things happened as usually they do in the national political sphere, and news does not take a break. Obviously, uh, I hope that you all are keeping well and are safe and are healthy and are not too tired of reality. I don't blame you if you are, but I hope that you're not. If you are listening to the audio version of this podcast at a later point of time, you're probably doing it on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Kana.com, Geo7, etc. It's a surprise that I have not forgotten that sequence. And if you are listening to this on an audio platform at a later point of time, please do share it on social media or with a friend of yours or a family member, because that's how podcasts become uh, known beyond their listener base. Social media doesn't really help podcasts that much, but word of mouth does. So if you want to share the podcast, please do. And if you're here live right now in the chat, hello. Oh, bunch of people are here. Hello, everyone. And it's good to be back. I will talk more about what I did during the break, but before that, let me just say hi to Arun is here. Hi, Arun. Hi, Peaceful Nook. Hi, Messi. Hi, Awara Billa. Hi, Naveen Kumar. Hi, Dhiru Bhai, who is still a member. If you're not a member, you can become a member by clicking the join button below. Shayan is here. K is here. Kavan is here. Yes, welcome back. Shri Shri Baba Vimo. एक बार नहीं ये मत करो please. Dank Normie says welcome back. Batman Begin says Bada Wala, welcome back. Kailash says hello भैया. Hi Kailash. Ishita says hello. Twitch पे भी चल रहा है live, by the way, if anyone wants to watch on Twitch, twitch.tv/Vimo live. Kawan says 2 weeks feels like 2 years. अरे अरे ऐसे मत करो, थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया ये. Goku says hi Vimo, nice to see you brother. Hi Goku. Addict listener says welcome back. Ishita says hope you had a great detox. It was a good detox, but I don't think the detox is over, and I will talk about that. Like, I have fallen into a new kind of schedule in life, and it's working for me, and I don't want to let go of it. So we'll talk about this. मूड क्या है says आइए आपका इंतजार था. आइए आपका. I'm not gonna sing. Yashwant says hello, welcome back. Rutvija says too tired man. Oh, okay. Ameya says, missed you a lot. Farhan says, how are you? Chandranshu, Ajay, Kavan, hello everyone. Kavan says, who else should be working on their master thesis since the deadline is in a week but is here instead? Kavan, please pay attention to your studies. This is not good. Missed the live stream. Somnath says, Chandranshu, Kavish, hi Vimo, missed this hour. Hopefully you enjoyed your time off. I did. But I did more than enjoy, actually. It was productive, which is something I don't usually do during breaks. Tushar says, hey, welcome back. Batman Begin says, India's smartest podcast, aka Polar Bear, missed you a lot. Okay. So I'm not saying hello to every single person anymore because there are too many. But thanks everyone for the welcome back messages. Robert says Indian people in West countries, oh, white people are racist. Oh, white people are racist. And some Indians stay silent on casteism, and Northeast people face discrimination. Yeah, that is true. I think the lesson that we should take away from Indians facing racism abroad is that if you are a minority community, your commitment to justice should take the shape of support for minority communities everywhere. Instead, what happens is that these guys quickly fall into the trap of, oh no, Hindu phobia. So they remain stuck there. Puneet says, आज दुष्यंत कुमार का बर्थडे है. Do read him if you have the chance. I shall. Shachi says hello. Mood क्या है? Says आपके पास सेम कलर का कितना बेडशीट है? हमेशा यही कलर रहता है. और मे बी ये चेंज नहीं हुआ है बहुत दिन से. नहीं नहीं, चेंज हुआ है. ये पिछले हफ्ते चेंज हुआ था. बट सेम. हाउ डू यू नो व्हाट कलर इट इज? सो डार्क. एंड दैट्स अ रीडिंग बेड बाय द वे, वहाँ पे कोई सोता नहीं है, वहाँ बैठ के लिखता हूँ या पढ़ता हूँ, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा। राइट, सो नाउ दैट वी हैव gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, let me just tell you what I did. So the goals, one of the goals, by the way, keep leaving your comments, I'll get to them when I'm done. One of the goals of taking this break was that I wanted to write. And I have, when I say write, I write anyway every day, but I'm not talking about non-fiction writing, political commentary, tweets and threads, etc. What I'm talking about is I wanted to write fiction, I wanted to write stories, and I have not actually done that very well ever since uh, the passing of Manoj, which was more than a year ago now. And I really wanted to get back to writing. So I did. I took a break and I kind of rescheduled my day right from the beginning of the break. And what I did was that I wanted to wake up in the morning and I wanted to write 1000 words every day. And I did, मतलब ये सब सपने तो हम लोग सब देखते हैं पर होता नहीं है, पर इस बार हुआ. Turns out मैं really ये करना चाहता था. So what has happened is that for the last 2 weeks, I have been waking up actually at 5 a.m. and writing 1000 words before 7 a.m. सो दैट्स अ गुड थिंग. मेरा जो स्लीप शेड्यूल था वो फिक्स हो गया एक तरीके से. फिक्स मतलब फिक्स तो द नेचर ऑफ द स्लीप इज़ नॉट गेटिंग बेटर. पर एटलीस्ट मैं जल्दी सोने जा रहा हूँ और जल्दी उठ रहा हूँ. सो दोज़ थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग. सो दैट्स अ गुड थिंग एंड आई डोंट वांट टू स्टॉप इट. व्हिच मीन्स दैट इफ आई वांट टू वेक अप अर्ली, आई विल आल्सो हैव टू गो टू स्लीप अर्ली. सो जो आइडिया मैं सजेस्ट कर रहा था वो ये था, एंड आई वांट टू टॉक टू यू गाइस अबाउट इट बिकॉज़ आई ऑब्वियसली वोंट डू इट इफ इट डजंट सूट एवरीवन. ये पॉडकास्ट का लाइव स्ट्रीम शुरू होता है रात के 10 बजे. इज़ इट ओके इफ आई मेक इट 9:30? 9:30 से 10:30 करेंगे. आई विल अपलोड द ऑडियो वर्जन एंड आई विल गो टू स्लीप. This way, I'll be able to wake up at 5 every day and continue doing what I do. The writing is going well. I hope it's a fantasy novel. I have already talked about Yogantar. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But I don't want to stop my writing schedule, my wake up schedule, my sleep schedule, simply because live streaming has started again. सो आई वांट टू कंटिन्यू डूइंग इट. मैं दिन के टाइम पे लिखूंगा, एडिट करूंगा, शाम के टाइम पे न्यूज़ वगैरह देखूंगा, रात को लाइव स्ट्रीम करूंगा, और दिन के टाइम पे रात को सो के उठने के बाद सुबह फिर से वही सब. सो इट विल बी अ नाइस वेल बैलेंस्ड pacing to the day. And I think that moving the live stream to 9:30 is better. Or like some people are suggesting in the chat, even earlier is better. 8 बजे करूँ तो भी चलेगा. 8 बजे तो शायद नहीं करूँगा, बट लेट्स सी, अभी के लिए 9:30 करते हैं. इफ एवरीवन इज़ ओके विद दैट, लेट मी नो इन द चैट एंड आई विल डू इट फ्रॉम टुमारो ओनली. कल से 9:30 से 10:30 तक लाइव स्ट्रीम करेंगे. कूल. If anyone has a problem, if anyone thinks 10 is a better time, also let me know. We'll see how many people go for what. Hmm. Thank you, Messi, for the 100 rupees ka super sticker. Much appreciated. Sarvesh says, Hi Vimo, welcome back. Missed the live stream. Hi Sarvesh. Robert says, even action against racist people in West, but in India, Dalit stories become propaganda and BJP RSS speakers can openly say rape threats for Muslim women. Yeah, that's true. मूड क्या है? says, अभी कसम से हम करीब करीब नींद में चले गए थे तभी नोटिफिकेशन आया. मतलब तुम कह रहे हो कि थोड़ा जल्दी करना बेटर रहेगा. विक्रम says, how to fight procrastination. I have done a video about it on this channel a long time ago. First of all, I don't think you are actually procrastinating. हम सबको प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन नाम का एक लेबल पकड़ा दिया गया है और हम उसको लेके अपने माथे पे चिपका लेते हैं और हम ये कहते हैं कि हम प्रोक्रेस्टिनेटर्स, अरे यार मैं तो बहुत प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट करता हूँ. ये एक मजाकिया चीज़ बन गई है. बट मुझे नहीं लगता कि हम में से कई लोग प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट असल में करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इस लाइव स्ट्रीम को मैं हार्डली एवर कभी कैंसिल करता हूँ या पुट ऑफ करता हूँ, एंड दैट इज़ बिकॉज आई लाइक डूइंग इट. सो जिन चीज़ों को, इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग दैट यू आर अ प्रोक्रेस्टिनेटर, आस्क योर सेल्फ व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज इट दैट यू आर प्रोक्रेस्टिनेटिंग and why you are doing so. Do you not like it? Maybe that is the problem. Maybe the problem is not that you're a lazy bum. Maybe the problem is that the thing that you need to be doing, the thing that you need to be doing but you're not doing, the thing that you keep putting off for later, Maybe that thing is not to your liking. And if that is the case, is it possible to change it? Is it possible to bring about some change in the way you do things so that you don't feel like you don't want to do this thing? Is it possible for you to make it more interesting? Is it possible for you to, for example, लाइव स्ट्रीम अगर मैं कहूँ कि मैं हर रोज़ 10 बजे लाइव स्ट्रीम करता हूँ और फिर मैं ये करूँ कि यू नो मैं ट्यूसडे को आज मन नहीं कर रहा है यार, आज नहीं करते लाइव स्ट्रीम। फिर वेडनेसडे को करूँगा हाफ हार्टेडली, थर्सडे को बोलूँगा यार आज बहुत डिले हो गया, आज हाफ हाफ एन आवर लेट हो जाएगा। इट इज़ पॉसिबल फॉर लाइफ टू हैव प्रेशर्स लाइक दैट। बट अगर मैं वो करूँगा, तो जो कंसिस्टेंट हैबिट है मेरे लिए और देखने वालों के लिए, वो बन नहीं पाएगी। एंड पीपल विल नॉट कम बैक टू द चैनल अगेन एंड अगेन टू वॉच और लिसन टू द लाइव स्ट्रीम। सो मैं अपने लिए एक पब्लिक ह्यूमिलिएशन वाला सिचुएशन क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ। मैं अनाउंस कर रहा हूँ कि मैं ये चीज़ करूँगा। अगर मैं नहीं करता हूँ, तो खिल्ली मेरी उड़ेगी और चूँकि मैं नहीं चाहता हूँ कि मेरी खिल्ली उड़े, मैं करता हूँ। So maybe you can fight procrastination by declaring what you want to do and then letting other people hold you accountable. Maybe that's one way. Battler is here. Hi, Battler. Kavan says, how did you fix your sleep schedule? Teach me. My sleep schedule was fixed, and I shall teach you now by a method known as I have no clue. There is a writer called Kazuo Ishiguro, and he has a writing. There are various writers who have videos on YouTube about what writing style works best for them. Neil Gaiman has a different style. George R. R. Martin has a different style. काजुओ इशिगुरु का स्टाइल है कि वो हर रोज सुबह 4 बजे उठ के लिखते हैं. He writes 1000 or 2000 words, 1500 words, I think, and then he creates a schedule for himself, which is that every day, his day, while he's writing a novel, his day is exactly the same. 4 to 8 p.m., 4 to 8 a.m., he will write. 8 to 9 p.m., he will do some stuff. 9 to 11, he'll do some other stuff. And these things don't change. He basically designs a day and he sticks to it. So that even when he's not writing, his brain is in that loop mode. And the next day at 4 a.m., when he sits down to write, words will come because his brain has realized कि ये this is like creating any kind of schedule for yourself. His brain realizes that ये लिखने का टाइम है, थोड़ी देर के बाद खाने का टाइम आएगा, उसके बाद वॉकिंग का टाइम आएगा. So design your day and then start doing it. Maybe you will stick to it, maybe you will not stick to it, but start करने पे पता चलेगा. ऐसे राइटर्स भी हैं जो कि उस टाइप का शेड्यूल यूज़ नहीं करते. सो आई एम नॉट सेइंग दिस इज़ अ लाइक definitive way of writing. Maybe there are other people who don't do it this way. Peaceful Nook says, sure, 9:30 would be great. Somnath says, sure, please do. 9:30 is fine. Please make it 8:30 for better sleep. 8:30 से लेके कब तक? 9:30. थोड़ा जल्दी हो जाएगा. और 8:30 को करूँगा तो मैं खाऊँगा कब? मैं 9:30 इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं 8:30 से लेके 9 के बीच में डिनर कर लूँगा. 9 से 9:30 के बीच में थोड़ा-सा माइंड को ये करूँगा, रिलैक्स करूँगा लाइव स्ट्रीम से पहले. 9:30 को लाइव स्ट्रीम कर लूँगा. आई थिंक दैट इज़ फॉर नाउ अभी के लिए 9:30 करते हैं. Maybe later on 8:30 might become a reality. Dhirubhai says 9:30 is fine. Farhan says okay. Sarvesh says 9:30 or even 9 is great. Battler says ask the peeps abroad if they have an issue. Unka हाँ, so this question was for everyone. Let me know. Even if you're not in India, let me know what is the situation. Agastya says I'm on board with 9:30. Heck, I'm okay even if you make it 8 p.m. Okay. So it seems that earlier is somehow better for people. Robert says you should sleep 8 hours at least, Vimo. Robert, मैं दोपहर को एक झपकी लेता हूँ 1 घंटे का. So it balances things out. If I sleep at 11 or even midnight and I wake up at 5, I'm getting 5 hours. So I think the solution is to sleep a little earlier rather than not wake up at 5. Because 5 को wake up करके मेरा दिन काफ़ी अच्छा बीतता है. अगर मैं 11 बजे सोता हूँ तो 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 hours और दोपहर को 1 और घंटा हो जाएगा. But I don't know if I can sleep at 10. नींद आएगी नहीं आएगी. I guess I can program myself to do it, but let's see. I sound like a productivity guru of some sort. Messi says 9:30 is fine. Farhan says fine. रॉबर्ट सेज वेक अप एट 6 एएम विल बी बेटर फॉर यू। रॉबर्ट नहीं, लिखने के लिए उठता हूँ 5 बजे। 6 एएम को क्या होता है, पड़ोस से आवाज़ें आनी शुरू हो जाती हैं। 5 बजे थोड़ी शांति मिलती है, सो आई कैन एक्चुअली राइट ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम। ऑल्सो आई वांट टू मेक इट अ हैबिट टू वेक अप अर्ली, bathe अर्ली। बाय द टाइम द रेस्ट ऑफ माय फैमिली वेक्स अप, मैं नहा धो के तैयार हो चुका होता हूँ आजकल, एंड इट्स अ ग्रेट फीलिंग। सो आई वांट टू कंटिन्यू डूइंग इट। हाउ लॉन्ग आई विल बी एबल टू डू इट, इट्स अ डिफरेंट मैटर, बट लेट्स सी। Battler says, LOL, why do you watch news? Isn't that inducing a headache? I watch the news because I want to watch the news. I want to remain current. I don't overdo it these days. पहले तो बहुत ज़्यादा plugged in रहता था. But I suppose in order to talk about the things I talk about on this live stream, I have to at least know what is happening in the world because people do ask questions about it. So that is why. I listen to a bunch of political commentators. I watch interviews, listen to podcasts, stuff like that. Not television news. That's not news. That's just random, real level entertainment. Manish says 8 is too early. Okay. 9:30 अभी करते हैं. 9:30 is okay. Kavan says 9:30 works. Actually, whatever you choose works. Okay. Thanks, Kavan. बैटमैन बिगिंस भाई ओके 9:30 पीएम मेरे को भी 4:15 एएम उठना होता है डेली 4 माइल्स रनिंग शेड्यूल नाइस दैट्स वेरी कूल सोमनाथ सेज आई मीन 8:30 टू 9 फरहान सेज पोल नहीं हो गया ना सबने 9:30 को ओके बोल दिया अभी पोल करने की क्या जरूरत पोल करवा लो यहीं पे ओके लेट मी सी पोल कैसे करते हैं यूट्यूब का इंटरफेस खोलना पड़ेगा होल्ड ऑन यहाँ पे है क्या नहीं यहाँ पे तो नहीं है होल्ड ऑन मैं यूट्यूब के इंटरफेस से करता हूँ फर्स्ट राइट पोल कैसे क्रिएट होता है भाई अरे पोल का ऑप्शन कहाँ चला ओह आई एम नॉट लॉग्ड इन आई एम नॉट लॉग्ड इन टू माई ओन यूट्यूब अकाउंट लेट्स सी लॉग इन टू माई ओन यूट्यूब अकाउंट देयर इट इज ideal time for live stream start 9:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. यही दो ऑप्शन रखता हूँ अभी देखते हैं क्या होता है डाल दिया पोल करो वोट देखते हैं क्या होता है Jashmin says, how many pages did you write in 15 days? Jashmin, I wrote more than 11,000 words. Page तो नहीं गिन रहा, but the goal is to write 50 to 60,000 words by December 31st. अगर मैं हर रोज 500 वर्ड के आसपास भी लिखता हूँ तो वहाँ पहुँच जाऊंगा बट मैंने गोल को थोड़ा लूज किया है आई एम गोइंग टू टाइटन द गोल आई विल मेक इट अबाउट 80,000 वर्ड्स सो दैट एवरी डे एटलीस्ट 1,000 वर्ड्स आई कम आउट विथ और उसके इन एनी केस इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू स्टॉप एट December 31st इट्स गोइंग टू बी द फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट होपफुली ऑफ द नॉवल आफ्टर दैट उसका सेकंड ड्राफ्ट करना पड़ेगा और कुछ और भी चीज़ें करनी पड़ेगी एडिटिंग वगैरह भी करनी पड़ेगी ऐसा भी हो रहा है कि कई दिन मैं 200-300 वर्ड लिख पाता हूँ और कभी-कभी ऐसा हो रहा है कि मैं 1500 वर्ड लिखता हूँ जिसमें से मुझे 1000 वर्ड डिलीट करने पड़ते हैं बिकॉज़ दे आर यूजलेस। सो इट्स नॉट रियली कि just because I'm putting down words, all those words are going into the novel's word count. But if you just count the raw number of words I have typed down, it's about 11,000 words. हर रोज लगभग 800 से 1000 वर्ड के बीच में लिख रहा हूँ। Shubham says, hey, I got many delusionist and irrational friends who always argue that in Kailash mountain their god Shiva lives and therefore no one is able to reach its apex. You please destroy their absurd claims. शुभम ये बकवास क्लेम डिस्ट्रॉय करने के लिए तुम्हें मेरी मदद की जरूरत क्यों है वी हैव हेलीकॉप्टर्स एंड वी हैव प्लेन्स देयर शुड हैव बीन फोटोग्राफ्स ऑफ एनी deity who lives on any mountain really no mountain top is a secret place because लोग जमीन से अब चढ़ के नहीं जाते सैटेलाइट से फोटो ली जा सकती है अगर कोई कह रहा है कि किसी पेड़ पेड़ बोल रहा हूँ, किसी पहाड़ के ऊपर कोई डीटी रहता है, उसके फ़ोटोज़ होने चाहिए। अगर नहीं हैं, तो ये मानने का कोई कारण नहीं है। और अगर लोग सिर्फ़ इमेजिन करना चाहते हैं, तो वो उनको फ्रीडम है। इमेजिन कुछ भी कर सकते हो। वो कहें कि उसके ऊपर कोई एक देवता है, तुम कह दो कोई नहीं, कोई और देवता है। कैसे डिस्प्रूव करेंगे? उनको प्रूव करने के लिए जो चीज़ चाहिए होगा मतलब अगर तुम उनको कहो कि नहीं, उस कैलाश पर्वत के ऊपर एक बहुत बड़ा पंखों वाला हिप्पोपोटामस है। तो वो तुमको कैसे डिस्प्रूव करेंगे? बोलेगा अच्छा प्रूव करके दिखा, राइट? सो वही मेथड वो अपने ऊपर क्यों नहीं अप्लाई करते? अम Kiran says, "What is the novel about? Is it set in a future or dystopian?" It's a fantasy novel, Kiran. It's a fantasy novel set in a secondary Earth. It's got Rakshasas, Devas, Vanars, and other mystical races, etc. But it's not a mythological retelling. It's a whole new thing. I had shared the map some time ago. Maybe I can share the map again. Hold on. Is the map on desktop? Yes, it is. Let me show you. यार मच्छर काट रहे हैं मच्छर कहाँ से आ गए Mm, here it is. Hold on, let me just share the screen. Share. There. Can you see it? This is the world of Yugantar. I used to do this as a podcast, but I am no longer doing that. I have decided to turn this into a novel. So you see here, this green area is the forest area. It's called Van. It's where the Vaners live. This area, the urban, slightly medieval urban area, is the Rakshas dominion, and this wall, beyond this wall, under the in the south, this is Dev Bhumi. This is the area of the gods. And then there are other places also. Over here is Dan. Here, the far north. This is Vrihad Sagar. This is Lok Sagar. They all have politics. They all have interlinking histories and mythologies and uh, you know great big conflicts happening between them. So this is where the world is set. Uh, this is where the story is set. This world is where the story is set. There are characters, etc., about which I cannot obviously talk because it will give away too much. But this is where the story is happening. Hmm. Zia says, "How about starting a chat poll, Vimo, about the time change?" Already did. Kiran says, "Do you have the plot of the novel in mind already, or are you going by the flow while writing?" मैं एक novel बिना plot के लिख चुका हूँ, and it's a nightmare. So there are basically two methods, right? One method is making it up as you go along. The other method is outlining properly and everything, and then writing chapters based on the outline. This one I have an outline for. I not only have the outline, I have all the places, all the characters, किस chapter में क्या होने वाला है वगैरह वगैरह. In fact, that's almost half the work. In fact, more than half the work. The writing itself is once you know what is going to happen, it's easier to write the chapter. But the previous novel that I wrote was completely. There was kind of an outline, but it was more rough than this one, and not much structure to it. And it was a lot of fun to write, but in the end, it's completely unreadable. I suppose this happens to everyone. The first novel they write is completely unreadable. So I am at some point maybe going to return to that one and structure it again. But this one I'm starting with a very strong structure. I know what happens when the what the characters go through. Different characters have different arcs. The places obviously I know. I told you, and the world building is in place, and everything else is very organized. Robert says you should do join live with Human with Science on Saturday for a few hours because they do 8 hours of live stream. I did. I once joined their live stream. I cannot sit for 8 hours. I told them also. Like my back starts acting up if I sit for that long. And I don't know how they do it. They have incredible amounts of patience, and it's a great channel. I would recommend everyone to join their live streams, Human with Science, and they have a few other channels also. One of them is called, I think, Rational World, and Arpit ji has his own channel. It's called Astha Mukti, and yeah, but I have joined once and then maybe a second time twice, and I sometimes just watch it in the background while doing something else. It's a nice show. I think they should put out the audio version of it on a podcast because I think a lot of people might enjoy that also. uh, Batman Begins says, where is senior and junior? What senior and junior? Somnath says, recently in an informal discussion with one of my friends said we get all morality from religion. I asked which moral, which religion. What a discussion it started, my God. Yeah, discussions about morality are always a lot of fun. Eddie says, hope you're doing good. Missed you, buddy. Thanks, Eddie. Kavan says, what if there are things that you know you enjoy doing but don't have the patience to actually start doing it and instead choose to just look at something funny on my phone? Yeah, so f- you kind of need to resist the pressures that your phone places on you in this day and age because hold on, let me put on my AC on because मच्छर बहुत हो रहा है. Uh, so the social media age has kind of created a problem in that it has fragmented our attention spans to such a degree that we are unable to focus on deep work. There is a writer called Cal Newport, and he has written a book called Deep Work. In fact, Cal Newport has a YouTube channel also. If you search for him, Cal Newport, Newport, and it's got some nice summaries of the ideas explored in his books, and you can look at those videos. Maybe they will help you. Shreya says you need to have some skin in the game to actually feel that positive pressure and avoid procrastination. That's what I personally realized based on some experiments I did on myself. Accountability, LO, accountability low. Acha. Puneet says I exited my friend's WhatsApp group and I haven't felt that much annoyed since then. Guys, don't cling to toxic relationships of any. Yeah, this is true. A lot of the toxicity we experience on in our daily life is because we are hanging out with people who are extremely poisonous. Just maintain your distance from them. If you think that you can't live with them, why do they not worry about not being able you not being ये इसी बहुत sound कर रहा है. If you are worried that you will not be able to live a happy life without them, do you think they have the same problem with you? Do they worry about alienating you? They don't, because they are not changing their ways because you are uncomfortable. My advice would be, if you have toxic people in your life, make it abundantly clear to them that you are bothered by their behavior. If they don't change, don't feel bad about increasing distance between them. Why should you put in all the emotional labor in that relationship? Why should you always make space for their bigotry? Just leave those groups. Make it abundantly clear that you have no time in your life for that shit. Yusuf says, welcome back, buddy. Hope the break helped. Yes, Yusuf, it was helpful. Yeah. Samira says, hi, Vimo. Hi, Samira. Thank you for being a member. 9:30 is fine, Vimo. Aditya says. Peaceful Nook says, haha, it's funny. Some of my smarter friends have got into this Hindutva BS too. Hard times. Not that smart, apparently. Shubham says, hey, Battler, my friends argue that no one survived after reaching its apex. I tried my best to convince them, but they're out of state of comprehension. You should ask them why, right? Why did no one survive? And if no one survived, how do they know that no one survived? How do they know this? There is a mountain somewhere. On top of it, there is a deity, and nobody has survived going to this mountain. How do they know that this actually happened if nobody ever came back? मन से बना के बोल रहे हैं क्या? Ask them this simply. How do they have this information? And if they say, I read it in a Falana book, how did that author came to this? How did that author find this information? Because nobody has come back. How did they find out and then write about it? शेयर सेज दो टाइप के लोग होते हैं, सम आर प्रोडक्टिव इन द नाइट एंड सम इन द मॉर्निंग. खुद को पहचान के उस हिसाब से टाइम फिक्स करना इज बेटर. शांति लेट नाइट को भी मिलती है एंड अर्ली मॉर्निंग को भी. दैट इज ट्रू. इफ यू आर समवन हु इज मोर प्रोडक्टिव एट नाइट, then by all means go for it. What I realized that is that I can write late in the night because it's very silent and everything, but it leaves me feeling very surly in the morning. So what I have decided is that abhi se sham ke, if I could do this live stream in the morning, I would be probably writing in the evenings, but I can't do that. The live stream has to happen in the evening because that's when most of it, the people are free. So what I'm doing is that I'm, you know, doing the live stream in the evening. Everything that is associated with the live stream also moves to the evening. You know, watching news, being prepared, everything, and the writing work goes to the morning part, the early half of the day, first half of the day. Yashmin says we need old Doordarshan 15-minute news bulletins. Yeah, and not just 15-minute news bulletin. No other attention to breaking news throughout the day. 15-minute news bulletins 4 times a day. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. Khatam. That was, I mean, I have lived in that age. And when we first realized that news could be more than this, that news could be, 24 hours, पूरी दुनिया में जो हो रहा है, हर चीज़ पता चलेगी. It sounded like a great idea. Turns out it's actually not possible. And all you get in the 24-hour news cycle is utter and complete garbage or manipulative propaganda. Hmm. Arun says real level entertainment is an overly nice way of describing it. Yeah, those are not short reels, but they're long, and the same thing happens. The other day, I passed in front of the TV, and for like 10 minutes, the anchor was literally repeating the same phrase. The phrase had something to like, falana politician has gone to falana place, and she was saying, जा चुके हैं, जा रहे हैं, पहुंच चुके हैं, आप देख सकते हैं वो जो जगह है वहां पे वो पहुंच चुके हैं, वो उस जगह को जाने के लिए निकल चुके हैं, वहां पे जा रहे हैं, हमारे संवाददाता जमीन पे है, बताइए क्या हो रहा है वहां पे. एंड द संवाददाता सेज, ये मैं वहां पे हूँ जहाँ पे वो आ रहे हैं और वो आ चुके हैं, और आज सुबह वो वहां से निकले थे यहाँ आने के लिए, और अब वो यहाँ आ चुके हैं. There was nothing there, absolutely nothing there, and they made a 15-minute thing out of it, repeating one sentence in various formations, showing the same video on screen on loop, and talking as if this was so important. It was complete nonsense. It was, I mean, not nonsense, it was mundane. Some politician was leaving one place and going to another place. कुछ भी नहीं था उसमें, पर उसको ऐसे टोन में बोल रहे थे. इट वाज़ नॉट इवन कि वो वहाँ पे जा रहे हैं. इट वाज़ वो वहाँ पे जा रहे हैं और जा रहे हैं और पहुँच रहे हैं और पहुँचने वाले हैं वगैरह. हाई पिच स्टफ. कंप्लीट नॉनसेंस. एंड इट दिस गोज़ ऑन फॉर द एंटायर डे अपैरेंटली. मूड कैसे अब कोई 9:30 वाला मैसेज मत करो. हाँ, मैं समझ गया 9:30 को करेंगे कल से लाइव स्ट्रीम. कोड रामा सेज, हाउ मेनी बुक्स हैव यू रेड फ्रॉम दोज इन द बैकग्राउंड? About I keep repeating this, about 70%, because some of the books are new, some of the books are bad and cannot be finished. Some of the books I did not find enjoyable, even though they're good books. And most of the books I did find enjoyable and I did finish. Aditya says, have you seen Cosmic Skeptics takedown of Ben Shapiro on religion? I haven't seen a good video like that in a long time. I'm sure it is good, but I can't stand the sight of Ben Shapiro. He's an utter idiot. So I did not watch it. Fadu NSC PSC says, welcome back, Vimo. Happy to see you back. Thank you, Fadu. Deepika says, hi, Vimo. Missed your podcast. Thank you, Deepika. It's back now. The audio will be up after the live stream ends. Kavan says, excited for Rings of Power. Yes, I am. And I was really pissed off at all the internet reaction to, like, ट्रेलर देख के लोग इतने ज्ञानी हैं, ट्रेलर देख के शो को बॉयकॉट करना शुरू कर दिया. लाइक देयर इज नो एंड टू द एंटाइटलमेंट ऑफ फैंस. अबे शो को शुरू होने दो, देख लो एक दो एपिसोड, फिर डिस करना शुरू करो. बट नहीं, हम इतने महान हैं, हम इतने फोरसाइट वाले हैं, हम इतने अंतर्यामी हैं कि एक शो का एक ट्रेलर देख के हमने पूरा का पूरा बॉयकॉट करने का डिसीजन ले लिया. Peaceful Nook says, Battler, sometimes exposure to other fictional stories helps too. They learn that not fiction has to what? They learn that not all fiction has to be true. Okay. Shreya says, actually, Vimo, in general भी fun है polls. आप जब भी कोई टॉपिक स्पेसिफिक पॉडकास्ट करते हो या जब भी टॉपिक चेंज होता है, इट वुड बी फन टू हैव अ पोल. इंटरैक्टिव भी बन जाएगा, मस्त चैट. या माय for some reason my philosophy in life is that hold on, let me just end this poll first. My philosophy in life is that I don't want to keep many tabs open, and therefore because I have to open another tab. Right, poll 9:30 43%, 83 8 8:30 के लिए 56%, 119 votes. Okay, that's interesting. 8:30 के लिए ज़्यादातर लोग बोल रहे हो. ओके, लेट्स सी, वी शैल सी. If you, I was saying कि I try to keep not many tabs open, and in order to create a poll, I'll have to have YouTube open, and I don't try to keep YouTube open because I'm already using StreamYard. मैं कंप्यूटर पे स्ट्रेस ज़्यादा डालना नहीं चाहता क्योंकि बहुत सारे प्रोसेसर्स वैसे भी चल रहे होते हैं, इंक्लूडिंग हार्डवेयर. uh, AVS says, good to have you back. Lunch times didn't feel the same without this stream. Ah, okay. Robert says, you are following current events. See, I don't support Kejriwal, his party as political, but I live in Delhi. I see his positive work, and BJP spokesperson came to visit Delhi school. After a few minutes, he ran. I saw that clip. I think it was mostly done for, cheap thrills. And it makes for nice counter propaganda. And I think the Aam Aadmi Party so far is the only party to be this effective against BJP propaganda, even though it's like a smaller party, much smaller party, limited to 1, 2 states, and has ambitions of being something bigger. But as far as the propaganda part is concerned, they're very good at it, which makes me worry sometimes because अगर तुम एक प्रोपेगेंडा पार्टी से मुक्ति पा जाओगे और फिर ये लोग पावर में आएंगे तो उसी प्रकार का प्रोपेगेंडा होगा. And it's not going to be a good thing for our information, or rather our misinformation problem. Chandranshu says writers in ancient times had to count all the words again and again manually if they wanted to keep track of words, harder than writing itself. No, actually, what they did was that they knew how many words there are in a sentence, and they knew how many lines there are in a page. So that's how they did the math. Nobody sits and counts all the words like that. मैं करता था जब मैं बच्चा था. But eventually, if you are writing a screenplay, for example, you use something called a monospace font. A monospace font is something like Courier New, etc. And monospace fonts are called monospace fonts because हर character का width same होता है, which means that every sentence is roughly the same number of characters, right? स्पेस के लिए जितना स्पेस लगेगा, आई के लिए उतना लगेगा, ए के लिए उतना लगेगा, एल के लिए उतना लगेगा. So in Hollywood, the tradition is that a screenplay is about 120 pages long. Each page is 1 minute of screen time. So 120 page screenplay is a 2 hour movie. And that's how they judge it. That's like they use the page size, the margin size, the font size, the font itself, they're all set. They don't change. And everyone follows the same template so that if you have two screenplays in front of you, you can just compare their number of pages and you can say how many words there are in it. Of course, this doesn't really work because a lot of the Rings ka screenplay was really a lot of words and the movie was smaller. It was very description heavy. So not always, it doesn't work always, but for the most part, it does work. Chandranshu says, sorry, ये तो पढ़ लिया. Battler says, are you planning to commercially release your book? Yeah, of course. Why am I writing it otherwise? I plan to get it published. बट दैट्स ये बहुत टाइम लगेगा, सालों लग सकते हैं. अभी लिखना शुरू किया है इसको. पुनीत सेज हेक इट, पहाड़ के ऊपर ही तो लीग ऑफ शैडोज का अड्डा है. बैटमैन का राज अल गुल लिव्स देयर. ओसेन सेज साउंड्स लाइक अंतिम साक्षी. अंतिम साक्षी? No, Antim Sakshi. What was Antim Sakshi set in? Yeah, kind of. I think my imagination goes into broken words, but Antim Sakshi, अगर तुम imagine करना चाहते हो ना, imagine a planet which has hollowed out. Imagine a planet जिसके surface के बहुत बड़े-बड़े हिस्से टूट के अलग हो चुके हैं. That was that word. In case anyone doesn't know what that means, you can actually listen to Antim Sakshi. मैंने podcast actually delete कर दिया है, but the video is still, the story is still on YouTube. If you search for Pulp Fiction Antim Sakshi on YouTube, you'll find a short story by me. It's written and narrated by me in Hindi, and you'll know what that is. Dolly says, hey Vimo, once come on Cyrus Says podcast. अरे मैं साइरस सेज के चैट में रहता हूँ ऑलमोस्ट हर रोज. मैं उनका लाइव स्ट्रीम बैकग्राउंड में प्ले करता रहता हूँ. एक तो साइरस himself doesn't allow anyone else to talk. It's funny, yes, but it's also annoying at times. Augusta says LOTR using Indian myth and folklore. Your novel is. No, it's not LOTR. LOTR was based on the mythic characters of New Zealand, and it had a very different story. It had a dark lord who had to be defeated. The story is very different. Just because There is this tendency among people to think of fantasy as only being made of the things that go into it, and it is not. Individual fantasy novels have very different stories. For example, I've been reading a novel called First Law by Joe Abercrombie, and also I've started reading Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and they're very different kinds of things. जस्ट बिकॉज फैंटेसी सोचते ही दिमाग में कुछ फोटोज आते हैं, उनमें से एक होता है ड्रैगन, एक होता है मैजिक, एक होता है विजर्ड्स एक्सेट्रा, बट फैंटेसी इज मोर देन दैट, इट्स लिटरेचर. सिमिलरली साइंस फिक्शन सोचने पे माइंड में आते हैं रोबोट, स्पेसशिप्स और टाइम ट्रैवल, बट नॉट एवरी साइंस फिक्शन नॉवल हैज टू डू विद दैट, राइट? सो या, आई एम सेइंग डोंट ओवर सिंप्लीफाई फैंटेसी. ऑफ कोर्स सिंस आई एम राइटिंग दिस थिंग, हमारे आने वाले लाइव स्ट्रीम्स में अक्सर हम लोग इन चीज़ों के बारे में बात करेंगे. So if anyone has questions about writing, fantasy, world building, etc., feel free to drop them. Battler says, thank God for no more mythological influence story. Yeah, मैं तो अब नहीं कर रहा mythology. इनफैक्ट बहुत सारे लोग नहीं कर रहे. इनफैक्ट कुछ दिनों पहले मेरे एक दोस्त ने एक स्टोरी लिख के एक पब्लिशर को भेजी थी और वो रिजेक्ट हो गई. And they sent a mail back saying, we are sorry we can't accept this right now because mythology honestly is not selling that much. And I did not believe him when he told me this, because mythology, इंडियन फैंटेसी नॉवेल्स के लिए सर्च करोगे तो ज्यादातर चीजें तुम्हें मिथोलॉजिकल रिटेलिंग ही मिलेगी. अपेरेंटली दे आर नॉट सेलिंग दैट वेल. सो या, दिस इज अ गुड साइन फॉर other kinds of science fiction and fantasy. Robert says, wait, what did you stole story from my mind sometime ago? I was thinking of writing LOL. वाह, अरे खुद लिखो ना. I welcome anyone who wants to write a fantasy novel. मूड क्या ऐसे इस बीच में ट्विटर इंस्टॉल कर लिया था, बचा हुआ जो भी होप था खत्म होने लगा था, फिर अनइंस्टॉल किया. मोबाइल फोन अटेंशन को बर्बाद कर देते हैं. साइंस इज डोप हैज सेड न्यू गेम ऑफ थ्रोन्स कमिंग. साइंस इज डोप, इज दैट यू? Because I saw someone using your name on your video ka premiere today, and it was not you. I don't know what was happening there. But in case it is you, no, it is. It's got nothing to do with Game. It's not at all like Game of Thrones. I don't think I can even aspire to the level of complexity Game of Thrones has as far as characters are concerned. I think I have like one, two, three, four, five or six main characters and about 10 secondary characters. That's all. Game of Thrones, though, it's an entire world. Kaushal says, I asked on Discord too, but do you have any Indian fantasy book recommendations, preferably high fantasy? High fantasy. I haven't read much Indian high fantasy, I'll admit. But I know that the books exist. Should I recommend books that I have not read? Because I don't want to do that. By the way, uh, you guys have seen Three Idiots, right? You guys remember the obnoxious boyfriend character? जिससे करीना कपूर की शादी होने वाली थी और जिसके मंडप से उसको उठा के ले गए थे. The actor who played that obnoxious boyfriend, his name is Olivier Lafont, I think. I may be mispronouncing his name. He has written a fantasy novel. It's called Warrior. Wait, I'll show you. Olivierlafont. Yes, here it is. Arre, kahan gaya? Is it no longer on sale? Hold on. Kahan gaya book? Here it is. Apparently, I have the ebook for this, but I have not read it. Hold on. Can you see it? Yeah, see this? This novel, Warrior, is kind of sort of inspired by Hindu mythology, and you can get it on Kindle. I have not read it, I'll be honest. But I don't know why it came to my mind. It's called Warrior, and it's written by Olivier Lafont. Here's the author. This guy. You remember him, right? Yeah. So maybe try this out. And there are a bunch of others also that I will recommend in the coming weeks. Hold on, there's a super chat by Milind Sonone. Hold on. Yes. Hi Milan, thank you for the 100 rupee super chat. Milan says, hello Vimo, कैसे हो भाई? Welcome back, nice to see you always. Vacation पे गए थे क्या? Anyways, keep going and growing. मिलन एक ब्रेक लिया था क्योंकि दिमाग पक चुका था बहुत सारी चीज़ों से एक ब्रेक लिया था जिसके दौरान लिखना शुरू किया और अभी लिख भी रहा हूँ। इनफैक्ट लिखने के बारे में ही बात कर रहे थे आजकल। बट थैंक यू फॉर द सुपर चैट, मच अप्रिशिएटेड। हम्म, कहाँ था मैं? यस। Samad says, "Welcome back, Vimo. I used Incarnate as you suggested to create maps. It's pretty good. Your map looks very detailed." हाँ, वो मैप बनाने के लिए मुझे 3 दिन लगे थे। एंड ऑल्सो आई गॉट अनदर सॉफ्टवेयर कॉल्ड वंडर ड्राफ्ट, जिसको मैंने अभी तक इंस्टॉल नहीं किया है, बट इट्स अ वन टाइम पेमेंट, मेंबरशिप का कोई झमेला नहीं है। दैट्स ऑल्सो मैप मेकिंग सॉफ्टवेयर, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू काइंड ऑफ सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक द मैप आई मेड ऑन इनकारनेट वाज द वर्ल्ड मैप, राइट? बट इंडिविजुअल प्लेसेस विद इन इट, उनके भी ज़्यादा डिटेल मैप बनाना चाहता हूँ, which I'm going to do on Wonder Draft, and I'm going to share with you whenever I do make the maps. One of them is going to be the Dominion capital city. The other one is going to be New Loke, and then some other places also. But whenever I make those maps, I'll tell you. It's called Wonder Draft. Augustus says map could have been more diverse and lively. It's a bit too segregated geography wise. Yeah, it's a subcontinental map, and the idea is to have that area segregated, and the reason the area is segregated has to do with uh, the story itself, so I can't tell you why it is segregated. It's a subcontinent basically. Hmm. Yashwant says Google says 250 words for one page, thus 10,000 words will be 40 pages, double spaced. And also the font size matters. If it's Times Now, font size 12, and the text is double spaced, then yes, 250 words, I suppose, with liberal margining. But I'm not using that format. Hmm. Sciences Dope says, I might do my own stream. Oh, yeah, Sciences Dope has been thinking, I don't want to give it away, but I think that he might start doing live streams pretty soon, as he just said, if it is Sciences Dope. Metal Man says the giant joint shaped mountain in the center of the continent is called Kush. Nice. Yeah, it's a city actually. It's a vertical city because Vanars. Robert says, in my story, Vanara is savage guy and he killed all the gods. When his wishes wasn't fulfilled by gods, he went on rampage against all the gods. Yeah, very different. Not my story. AVS says, Pranav, since you made the Satvik video, you ruined my plans of ruining the movement from inside. Oh, okay. That would have been interesting. You wanted to ruin the movement from inside. Chandranshu said, who designed the map, Vimo? I did. I made it on paper first, and then I found Incarnate and I made a digital version of it. In fact, I made it on the free version of Incarnate, I think, which I now regret because if you get a paid version of Incarnate, you can have a map made in 4K. And if you have a 4K version of the map, you can print it out and paste it on a wall and it will look really nice. I can't do that with this map, I think. I mean, I can, but it will not be very large. Manmat says, Sciences Drop, your last post came to me as a relief. Now I more enjoy eating delicious MSG food stuff. MSG ke bare mein this has been public knowledge for a long time. I'm glad that Sciences Drop made a video about this, but there's been a lot of propaganda against MSG and the foundations of it were racist, as Pranav pointed out. Someone says, Sciences Drop, hey Pranav, kudos for your work. I hope your live stream doesn't conflict with Vimo's. Yeah, Sciences Drop, we are planning to do this at 9:30. So maybe I can just before I go to sleep, I can direct people to yours. Robert says you can say that Thor: Love and Thunder story was in my mind before they made movie on this. I was one brutality on what on this. I was have more brutality on this story. Acha, you're saying I have not seen Thor: Love and Thunder, and also start writing the stories. If you keep things in your head, someone else will write it down. Science is say, okay, I think I'm unintentionally hijacking Vimo's chat, so I'm going to leave. Okay. Uh, Osin says, Arey, stay. Mood says, no, no. Everyone wants you to stay. I guess he left. Batman Begins said, the teacher's pet podcast, thriller type podcast karo. That podcast arrested the killer husband after 30 plus years. Hmm. Aditya says, Vimo or Pranav, do you know if Ayurvedic medicines undergo randomized controlled trials? To the best of my knowledge, they don't. And that is one of the problems. They should. And if after undergoing randomized trials they still work, then they should be accepted as medicine. I could not find any paper or article regarding it. Yeah. I guess Pranav will be able to tell you better, but to the best of my knowledge, they don't, for the most part. AVS says, Aditya, yes, by word of mouth from people who love Ayurveda. Shubham says, in Annihilation of Caste, Dr. Ambedkar elucidates the distinction between rules and principles. He argues that religion is important, but is supposed to based on principles only. Please throw light on it. I am an atheist, so I am probably not going to make any argument about the benefits of religion. I respect Dr. Ambedkar's views on it. However, I think my opinion is that religion is largely unnecessary. The only reason people think that they cannot live without religion is because they have never lived without religion, right? If we don't have religion, we might be surprised to find that we are still okay. I'm not saying abolish religion or get rid of it or prevent people from practicing religion. I'm saying just let it die. Don't look at it, don't feed it. Just let it die of old age and we'll be fine. Robert says now short is very popular in India and every third reel or short is about religion is perfect and Hindu equal to science and sad part people say Hindu hail Hindu despite everything is lie. Okay. Ari says I always assumed if you're pushing your medicine you should at least fake an RCT. Kavan says the poll is getting interesting. Yeah, the poll. I thought more people will be in the favor of 9:30, but apparently 8:30 is okay with people also. Nemo says yes, my Insta was filled with Hindu reels. It won't go even after doing not interested. Mm. Kodrama says how to escape information overload. Know your limits, I guess. Know your limits about how much you can process. Know your limits about how much you are comfortable with, and then go from there. Like journalists are neck deep in news from morning till night and they can handle it. But if you appear to be someone who can't handle it, know your limits and create boundaries that you should not cross. Kostov says, whenever you're saying that the break was good, you're taking a pause. Anything off during the break if you don't mind sharing? No. Am I taking a pause like that? I wasn't aware that I was taking a pause like that. I suppose I was heaving a sigh of relief or something. Because not doing live stream, not creating content is a bit of a problem for me because I feel like I should always be making stuff. But I found that I could adequately fill the gap with writing. My entire day was spent on this world. In the morning, I was writing a chapter. In the daytime, I was creating the world, working on the details of the locations, the characters, their bios, their relationships, the histories of the different places. It's all a lot of fun to work on. So, no, nothing off. Robert says, you want that, Vimo? I understand Darshan was real news channel. What? Robert, I have no idea what you're saying. Hindi mein likho. Puneet says, guys, read Tomb of Sand, Red Samadhi by Gitanjali Shri. It's simply amazing and it won the Booker Prize this year. Neither state nor central government congratulated her. Manish says, hey Vima, what is your opinion on Adani buying stake in NDTV? It's bad, obviously it's bad. I don't know what else I can say about it. Kiran says, what do you think about the debate on Stalin and USSR with communists saying he was a great leader while critics point to the purges authoritarianism, which according to the former is CIA propaganda? I think there is some things to be said about uh, state-sponsored atrocities on citizens, etc. And I think there is another case to be made against the fact that people are too eager to say communism failed and are not as eager to say that capitalism is failing every single day. You compare the toll of capitalism with the toll of communism, and you will find that capitalism's toll is far greater. We are simply not habituated to the idea that capitalism has failed. Every day it fails. But we don't say capitalism has failed, we say communism has failed. So I think these things need to be kept in mind. I'm not in the mood to go into it in great detail. Maybe some other day I will. Skipping a few comments because we are at the 55-minute mark. Shreya says, Gutter Space में House of Dragon आएगा क्या? हाँ, हाँ, बिल्कुल आएगा. But I think we're not going to do an episode by episode on it. We're going to do the entire series when it comes. I've been enjoying House of the Dragon, by the way. It's good. It's good. Jashmit says, wish News Laundry scroll or wire start a 9 p.m. 15-minute news bulletin video. No opinion, no analysis, no judgment. Give me my daily info. News Laundry, I think, has a short podcast, a news podcast, if you want to search for it. संग्राम says 9 साल का दलित बच्चे को सिर्फ इसलिए मार दिया क्योंकि उसने सिर्फ सवर्ण राजपूत के पानी के मटके को टच किया था और सवर्ण मीडिया ने इसको ट्विस्ट करके इंसिडेंट एंगल चेंज कर दिया और जय हो ब्राह्मण धर्म. या एग्जैक्टली. ये पिछले 2 हफ्ते में जिस दौरान मैंने ब्रेक लिया था, इतनी सारी घटिया चीज़ें हुई हैं ना. It was very I almost broke my break a couple of times because of that, but then I realized that essentially number of people are talking about this. There was this news about this little child being murdered by a man because of his caste. There was obviously the entire the how do I even find words to describe it? The Bilkis Bano thing, where people who raped and murdered an entire family and gang raped a woman are being called cultured Brahmins. And then there will be people who say, yeah, आजकल caste वगैरह कहाँ होता है? And then yesterday there was this news about this woman who kept a tribal woman prisoner for years, causing her inhuman atrocities. Like, I'm not generally in favor of death penalty, but sometimes it begins to sound like a good idea for people like this. और क्या बताऊं इसके बारे में? K says procrastinating on starting my novel for months, but I don't really have the story in mind, only the characters and some themes. What to do? Start writing. If you find that you can't outline it, just take your character, put him in, and this is what Stephen King does. Stephen King does not outline. He says just make a good character, put him in and put them in an interesting situation, and see what happens. Maybe that's your process. सबका एक process नहीं होता है. Maybe this will work for you. Nice guy says, hey Vimo, do you think there's a bigger, darker reason for the right wing to continuously boycott Bollywood? No, there isn't. I think it's mostly distraction. None of them are going to stop watching films. None of them are going to take pride in लो देख हमारा बॉलीवुड का फिल्म है तो अमेरिका में भी देखी जा रही है अब. This is the IT cell creating distractions because it has nothing better to do. That is all. It is creating significant financial losses for the film industry occasionally, but for the most part it's a distraction. That whole SSR stuff, that was also a distraction. धीरू भाई 60 people watching but 120 votes, ये कैसे? पता नहीं. शायद कुछ लोग ट्विच से वोट दे रहे हैं. नहीं, ट्विच से कैसे देंगे? यूट्यूब से? पता नहीं. आई डोंट नो. At that point, maybe a lot of people were watching. Kavan says, I know, right? People are ready to believe that dragons, dwarves, elves, etc. exist, but for some reason, the idea of people of color, badass women who fight, etc., in a particular world is beyond. Yeah, there are so many jokes about this. There is this entire racist crowd in America or the West, generally speaking, of white boys who think of fantasy as a certain thing. They're totally okay with dragons being in medieval times, but you put one woman knight in a medieval armor in a fantasy story, and they're like, yeah, this is थोड़ा unrealistic नहीं हो रहा. Women don't wear armor and fight wars. Beta, if you didn't notice, there's a dragon flying in the sky, spewing flames, and you appear to be perfectly okay with it. Puneet says, Battler, it's fiction. The story is of two women. One is an old, recently widowed mother, and the other is her independent feminist daughter. It's beyond beautiful, but the writing style is tough. Okay. मनीष says 8:30 पे वोट करने वालों, और मोदी जी सपने में आएंगे तुम्हारे आज रात. आज रात को. AVS says Dhirubhai, people keep coming and dropping off. 60 is just a current number. Yeah. So a lot of people who voted went away. Then other people came and voted, and the number remained around 60. By the way, if you have not liked the live stream, please do. It helps more people find the video after it ends. मूड कैसे है? मनीष ठाकुर तुम्हारे सपने में अमित शाह का बेटा आएगा हाथ में तिरंगा पकड़े हुए. Auguste says every political actor need to be good at propaganda. Maybe we stigmatize the word propaganda by misusing it a lot. No, no, no. Propaganda. The word propaganda is not being misused. It is always. It has always been a bad thing. But counter propaganda, where you tell the truth and spread it as effectively as the propaganda spreading side spreads lies and misinformation, counter propaganda is a good thing. Manmat says, insider report from Gujarat, Aam Aadmi Party will take over the state. BJP is panicking because that will be an epic defeat. I don't think Aam Aadmi Party is going to win the election, but they are going to make a significant dent in the BJP's homestead. Shreya says, what are your thoughts about Adani's hostile takeover attempt of NDTV? Are we even surprised now? लगता है रवीश जी भी अब YouTuber बनेंगे. If he becomes a YouTuber, I'll obviously subscribe, and I'm sure you all will also subscribe. Right. So let me just take a look at the last few comments. Hmm. Josefa says, Agastya, how are you? I'm here for the first time from Pakistan. Josefa, we have all heard about the floods in Pakistan. I myself live in a coastal state. We are well aware of what cyclones and floods are like. So, sympathies, and I hope that your country recovers from this as soon as possible, as best as possible. Shubham says, hi Josefa, it is sad to know about the devastation caused by flood in Pakistan. My deepest condolences to my Pakistani friends who lost their life. Take care. Ajay says, Essence Global is organizing one of the biggest atheist conferences in Kerala. Anyone planning to attend? Yes, those who are in Kerala, please do attend. It appears to be a good place. It appears to be a place where a lot of people will gather and hopefully good things will happen. Taranga is here. Hi, Josefa. Wishing an end to the floods and hoping for safety only safety now on for everyone there. Yep. Josefa says, yeah, thanks for your love, Taranga. Taranga, we are safe, but majority of Pakistan is not. बैटमैन बिगिन says, विमो आपने बुलबुल राइड ट्राई करी कि नहीं? जल्दी ट्राई कर लो. अगर ओला गैब्स के कांटेक्ट में आ गई तो राइड कैंसिल करना सीख जाएंगी. बुलबुल राइड? अच्छा, दिस इज दैट सावरकर जोक. ओके. Skipping. Shreya says, so tired of the pro-Hindu reels and shorts being pushed on everyone these days. I'm afraid कि अपना नेशनल एंथम जनगण मन से आरंभ है प्रचंड स्लो रिवर्ब वर्जन बना देंगे जल्दी. अरे इसका सोल्यूशन है, तुम लोगों को जब कोई ऐसा रील मिले जो इनके जैसा ना हो और इनको विखंडित करता हो, जैसे कि साइंस इज डोप, उसको भर भर के शेयर करो. व्हाट्सएप में भेजो, इंस्टाग्राम पे भेजो, फेसबुक पे डालो, ट्विटर पे शेयर करो, जहां जहां शेयर कर सकते हो करो. और अच्छे से मतलब डिस्क्रिप्शन वगैरह लिख के कि यू नीड टू वॉच दिस इज अबाउट दिस, हैशटैग. Abhinav says, hi Vimo, have you been following the decoloniality debate? They seem to say that the concept of rights is a Western construct, hence we should reject it. What? हाँ, तो ये नॉर्मली ब्राह्मण होते हैं ना, नॉर्मली अपर कास्ट हिंदू होते हैं, champions of Brahmanism, who think that rights is a Western concept because apparently people not having rights worked out to great advantage of India. And when they say that, what they mean is that it worked out to the great advantage of their own nation, their own caste rather. Rights is a Western concept. जो लोग बोल रहे हैं ना, उनको एक सेकंड के लिए पूछो कि what if we take away your rights? How will you feel about it? They are in favor of rights, but they are the ones who want to have all the rights. It's complete and utter nonsense, of course. It's fascism. They want to remove the influence of British colonialism and replace it with Brahminical colonialism. हमारे पास राइट्स रहें, हमें सब पता है, तुम लोग बैठ के हमें पैसे दो और हम जो कहते हैं वो सब करो. Okay, we have a super chat from someone called Naveen Kumar. Thank you for the $20 super chat, Naveen Kumar. That's very generous. Much appreciated. In case anyone else wants to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button below. And or you join button below and becoming a member of the channel or sending a super chat. In case anyone wants to, support. Hold on. अरे क्या कर दिया मैंने? Hold on. In case anyone wants to support me elsewhere, you can get merch at kadakmerch.com/vimolife. There are t-shirts, there is a coffee mug, there are hoodies, etc., with a couple of messages. One of them is for atheists. It says Sabka Malik fake hai. The other one says words are weapons, which is my slogan on Instagram. So if you want to support me, you can buy merch there. In addition, if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do that on patreon.com/vimo. मैं वहाँ पे कभी कभी fiction share करता हूँ, but mostly Patreon is just a way for you to support the channel. You can also do that on YouTube itself by clicking the join button. If you want to support me on a one-time basis, you can do that by either going to my blog at vimo.stck.me and clicking the support button. There is no monthly funda there. You can just, do a one-time payment. Or after this video becomes available, there will be a thanks button below it. You can click it and you can make a one-time payment through YouTube itself. And if you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast, you can do so by visiting www.vimo.in, which is where my podcast website is. There are also links on the website to all the audio apps where the podcast is going to be available. Having said that, let me return to the last few comments. कहाँ गया? Ningtujam Nelson says, still do not understand people admiring billionaires, investors like Warren Buffett. What did they ever do to benefit people? Charity दिया ना, भीख दिया इसलिए. Or I don't understand economics market. No, I think worship of capitalists is a malaise that we all need to snap out of, because it prevents us from focusing on the actual problem, which is capitalism. Capitalism has done an infinite amount of damage to this planet and continues to do so on an everyday basis, not just to the environment, but to our mental health, to our economic well-being, etc. But we don't do that because we are like प्लेट पे परोस के हमको 4-5 कैपिटलिस्ट हीरो पकड़ा दिए जाते हैं और हम उनके भजन गाते रहते हैं. इलॉन मस्क महान है, स्टीव जॉब्स महान है, अडानी अंबानी महान है, वॉरेन बफेट महान है. हाँ, श्योर, they made some money, but most of the money they made was on the backs of the hard work of other people. And nobody should be that rich. If you take someone who has $100 billion of money and you leave them with just 10 billion or 1 billion, they are not going to die. They are going to live a decent life. But that all that other money can go into the welfare of so many people who don't have enough money to survive even. This is a lesson. This is a hard lesson we are all going to have to learn. Right. Sudeepta says, I looked at my list of podcasts a while ago and I got reminded of Pulp Fiction. वो क्या हुआ? Pulp Fiction यार delete कर दिया है. I was not able to pay attention to it and I did not want a podcast to lie around, dead. So what I'm going to do is that whatever fiction I produce, I'm going to put it on my Instamojo store and charge money for it. People can buy it as an audiobook or something. For the most part, I'm putting it on my Patreon. Whatever stories I'm writing right now, I'm putting on my Patreon. लास्ट वीक तो नहीं, 2 हफ्ते पहले मैंने एक शॉर्ट स्टोरी लिखी जिसका नाम था बोधी गेट्स एन आइडिया, एंड इट्स ऑन माय पेट्रियन इफ यू वांट टू रीड इट. इट्स अबाउट, I think, about 2500 words. I haven't put it on Instamojo yet, but maybe I won't. Maybe it will just remain on Patreon. I would suggest that if anyone is interested in my fiction, मैं short stories लिख के कभी-कभी डालता हूँ. You should just join my Patreon. मैं वहाँ पे stories डालता हूँ. There is a tier for the fiction things. It's at $10. If you want to support me on Patreon, choose the $10 one and you'll get my fiction. For everything else, YouTube is here and you can just use YouTube. Madhuri has asked, hey Vimo, when are you bringing Karuna Nandi on your podcast? Madhuri, अभी तो कोई plan है नहीं because I have not actually reached out to them. When I do, and if they say yes, they will be here and we'll see. But having said that, 1 घंटा 10 मिनट हो गया है. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to end today's show, and I'm going to remind everyone that this podcast from tomorrow onwards will happen at 9:30. So be here at 9:30 p.m. We'll do it from 9:30 to 10:30, and then I will go to sleep just as I'm about to do right after this. 11 बज गया, मैं 11:30 तक बेड में होऊंगा और सो जाऊंगा. सुबह 5 बजे उठ के अपना नया शेड्यूल फॉलो करूंगा. But we have already spoken a lot about that. I will see you all tomorrow at 9:30. Be here, and of course, the audio version of the podcast will be available at www.vimo.in. So, and Spotify, etc. Why am I dithering so much? I have forgotten how to end this show. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow at 9:30. Until then, good night and take care of yourself. Bye bye.